Jen here. I hope you're well and I've got a little bit more sunshine than we do in Edinburgh today. So last week I did my first ever LinkedIn video and I promised there would be more, so here there is. And as someone who helps people shape and create their own career stories, I thought it would be useful to share mine and how I got to where I am. So I'm not sure if you follow any of my posts, you may know that I'm a fan of adventures, and that's because I come from a long line of adventurers. My papa, my granddad, in the 50s moved his young family from Glasgow, Scotland to Kenya to set up a new life for themselves. He set up his own business in his 40s. So my dad and his brother and sister grew up in Kenya. And actually as a youngster, I had grandparents who lived in Kenya. So, I actually got to go on safari, being this wee young thing, actually getting to do some of these adventures was pretty awesome. I think that sparked my adventurous spirit. My own parents moved us from Scotland to Yemen in the Middle East. There's something in our family trying to find warmer climates, that's for sure. And then moved us on to New Zealand. And so I grew up, spent most of my youth growing up in New Zealand as a Kiwi kid, and as a Kiwi kid you really spend your life outdoors, and for me I had the opportunity to play every sport under the sun. I played tennis, softball, netball, rugby, cricket, hockey, pretty much everything, and I was actually in the sporting environment where I first started working or started as a coach. And if you think about it, in the sporting world, it's unimaginable for athletes, sports people, teams not to have a coach. In the sporting world, a coach is key and critical to individuals reaching their potential, overcoming hurdles, quite literally sometimes, and helping people smash their goals. So even as a youngster, I really was able to see that role as coach and how I could help people reach their potential. So it was kind of flowed quite naturally that at uni I went and studied human resources and organisational psychology. So it's really that mindset piece then, how do we help people get out of their own way? How do we help people with that self-belief? How do we work on that positive mindset so that people can have the best chance of success and reach and realise their potential? So I was always fascinated in how we can support people, also how that translates into work and into organisations. When I moved from New Zealand to Australia and then moved to Edinburgh 15 years ago, which is quite crazy now, and actually I think I'm the only person in my family who's made the moves from somewhere hot to cold. I'm not quite sure what that says about me. But when I moved to Edinburgh, the first couple of things I did was, first of all, joined a netball team to meet some friends, and then decided to try something totally new. So try, as all the adventurers in my family, making those taking a bold move and making that kind of step into something quite new. And I fell into recruitment. So I think no one ever starts their career off thinking, I want to be a recruiter when I grow up. But for me, it actually was perfect because it kind of pulled together all the things that I love, that curiosity in people, that how do I help people, realise their aspirations, what are their career goals and how do I support them reach those? So recruitment was a great place for me to really start my career. And then over the last 15 years, I've taken on more responsibility. So I was leading a European team. I had the opportunity to work for GSK in a global role. I started to take on more strategic positions. So looking at not just helping people with their careers, but then looking at helping organisations. So how do you identify and attract the top talent? And then once you've got them, how do you support their careers and support their development? So in my career now, I think after 15 years, I've helped or supported over 1,000 people go after brave, make brave steps or go after the things they want in work and life, which is pretty awesome. And so the way I kind of approached my career was, I've never been afraid of kind of just putting my hand up and going for something more, or taking that next promotion, or taking a side step to learn something new. I've never looked at something and thought, I can't do that. I've always thought, how can I do that? And I think it's about being bold and backing yourself and having that self-belief that, sure, you might not know it all right now, but you have the capacity to learn. And if I think about all the people I've helped across, from junior level through to execs, when you make a big change at work, we're all getting out of comfort zone. We're all winging it to some degree because there's a learning gap, and we all have that emotional journey that we go through, and we think, have I bitten off more than I can chew? So we're all experiencing all of that stuff, but it's powering through despite that. So before I launched my own business, I was stepped up to a global director position. So, that really came off the back of a conversation with an old boss and seeing an opportunity where they had an area of growth. And I was like, look, this is an area for you to further develop, and this is a real, this could be a game changer for you. Go away and think about it, and if it's something you want to progress that area, then I'll be there to support from a talent perspective. So it's about kind of identifying opportunities for yourself and then positioning yourself. And lo and behold, a few months later, they decided that they were going to invest in this area, and would I come on board and head up from a talent perspective this new function. So I was so excited. So this is end of 2014. I'd been working for GSK, and then I decided to accept and take on this really exciting new role. So global talent director. I could build my own global team. I could build and shape this function. So it was so exciting. And I just remember thinking that I had my whole future ahead of me. I was that excited, that I'd kind of identified what I wanted and I'd gone for it. So I was feeling really proud of myself there. So as life throws us these curveballs, I was at that point feeling on top of the world and about to start this new global director role. And actually within a few months, things turned on their head. Within a few months of starting that role and thinking I had my whole future ahead of me, I was sitting in an oncologist's office being told that I had breast cancer. I was a young woman with breast cancer, and I remember thinking, I've gone from thinking my future is it's whatever I want it to be, and then all of a sudden thinking, do I even have a future? So I'm just going to leave it there at the moment, and I'm going to come back tomorrow and tell you a little bit more and what happened next.